Insect Newick review of Kawahara et al. 2023 phylogeny butterflies. Data is on Figshare here, and a huge data supplement to this article. And here's a bunch of trees. And here's a Newick file. So you can see 3 components to the node labels. Support values. I think it's the first time I've seen 3, usually 1 or 2. / separated as standard, and branch lengths, and the terminals are quite a lot to the terminals. We have codes, higher taxon names, 3 higher taxon names, family, subfamily, tribe, and we have the binomial here. So the first thing that strikes you about is just the size of the tree, and not only that, actually the size of the matrix. I must have used 2,200 over 2,200 terminals. Now for multi-gene data, there's been plenty of this size, even quite a lot larger, but this is not a multi-gene tree. This is a omics tree. This is a AHE tree, so several hundred markers used. So let me get the 320 genes times 2,200 taxa. This is possibly the largest supermatrix ever used. I don't remember any larger than this, so a huge amount of data used in this tree. Taxon is the butterflies, so we're not going to expect many species ambiguous things in there, but so mostly we have 3 values on the node labels. Actually, this wasn't complete. There's some which only had 2 for some reason. We have species out, something with a code given as the species ID. The word group after what looks like a species, so presumably species group or species complex. I think I checked this, and so I'll just give that. I'll assume this is the species name. Now this is Polygonia C-album. It's very unusual in insects, but this is actually the name of this species. Virtually every species is comprised of A to Z letters, but I have no idea the history behind this, but for whatever reason is a hyphen in the species name. And you get, I've just come across a handful of these in the insects, and here's one in the butterflies. Now in the past I think I just removed this. But what I'm thinking about now is maybe just remove the hyphen, which gives it a bit of an odd name. Perhaps people expecting the word album and it turned into something a bit odd, but yeah, generally we don't want a framework where we've got 99.99% of names in one format and 3 or 4 with some atypical characters. But as I say, this is actually a species name, but my opinion now is just to remove this hyphen. But for most of the terminal labels, we've got codes and higher taxon names. Now they use this X, which I wasn't sure what it meant at the first look, but I now it's for where a component is it's mostly for where a component is missing. So here seems in some cases we have two codes, two accessions. I don't know what maybe the accessions, and we have an X where one is missing. This kind of makes sense. It's support an X as to denote some missing component. So you still should have the field, but if that is missing for something, then put an X in there. So it's used for the codes and when a higher taxon name is missing. But even this I thought was a bit odd. These are butterflies. These are the most widely studied of the insects, bar almost nothing. So why is this not known? It seems unlikely that you'd have a load of missing. See, we have we have subfamily and tribe missing for this. So it seems a bit incomplete assignment. Well, it's incomplete assignment of the higher taxa. But that's not a big problem. It's still the fields are largely maintained. Now there's something else I would contest with using these at the end. So mostly the species names at the end, but in some cases they put a string _x_me. I don't know what it means, but this is the primary thing we need in a species level phylogenetic. We need this thing here. Everything else is optional. So this needs to be easy to parse. So this should be either the first. So if you're going to put extra information, this should be the first or it should be the last. That makes it easier or somewhat easier to pull out. But then, for the most part, these are the last thing. But then I've stuck this string on the end. This is no longer the last part. So it makes it a bit more complex. So essentially I think this should be, I don't know what this denotes, but it should be somewhere. I'll put this at the other end. Also, yeah, same thing here, put _me here. So what looks like a genus name, species name and something else. So this could be a subspecies. Or it could be an alternative name. I'm not really sure. Probably a subspecies. But in this case, I'll just take the first thing here. And that's about it. It was not too difficult to parse these. Then we have 4 species repeats. See, you can see the identical species. Now, the first 2 I checked, I thought, oh, this is okay, it's fine, this is justifiable because these are not even monophyletic, so something interesting here maybe, or some, I don't know what might cause this, but this would be a result worthy of sort of at least checking somewhere down the line. But 2 of these are expected monophyletic, so these are not really needed in this case. But anyway, I've decided to species repeats really need to remove anyway. But anyway, these you can see here we've got a paraphyletic essentially species here, which is a bit odd. And that would be something to which should be checked. Maybe a species complex or something. or some issue with the data. There's several species with comprising only 2 letters in this tree. These are not very common, and so I had to modify one of the scripts which assumes anything with 2 letters would be SP, i.e. species ambiguous. So I need to, as there's several here, I need to account for that. 16 species ambiguous terminals, 6 of which were unique to the genus, so the other 10 I don't think are needed, so prune them. There's an unrooted tree provided, so it needs rooting. The outgroups are given in table S1, then that. And here's the process version. This is ready for integration with other data. As you can see, it's a simple terminal format. But yeah, generally, this was published in a high-ranking journal. I can see why this is a huge matrix would have gone into this, and very valuable tree as a result. Here's the 309 genes, 1,400 genera, and 2,200 species. Several things I need to do, but quite an invaluable source of information for synthesis phylogeny of insects. Okay, job done.